Hi, Chris here. In this video I want to talk about the concept of programming in regards to your subconscious mind and also your conscious mind. First I'm going to talk about a bit about programming and those two minds that we have. Dr. Bruce Lipton, information I got from him, which is his specialty, and how the mind works. Now, the first 7 years of our life is we're downloading programs into our subconscious mind, because our mind is predominantly in beta mode, which means subconscious, which is kind of our default setting. And what we're learning in those first 7 years, we're learning mainly from our parents, friends, and the culture around us. Because when you think about it, when we're children, we're essentially with our parents or our caregivers the majority of the time. And we're learning how they deal with life, so therefore we can use that to go about our life. So you'll have seen a video I've done not too long ago regarding whether the illness or disease is created by our genetics or from our habits or daily habits. Well, this correlation here is that with our family history that we learn habits and programs from our loved ones, from our parents and from our family, and also from the culture around us. So 95% of the time we're actually in our subconscious, and only 5% of the time we're in our conscious. And what our conscious is essentially what we call in the present moment, where we're aware of what's happening around us, when we're being creative and we're being very focused on what we're doing at a particular time. So essentially 95% of the time we are living programs that have been developed over a period of time that we aren't even aware of. We're absorbing information all around us all the time while we're not even knowing it. So for example, when we're watching the TV, all the ads that we might not be actually specifically focusing on, our subconscious mind is absorbing all that information in. So our conscious, when we're at 5% of the time, is essentially a life that we're wanting to create from our wishes and our desires. So essentially what we want in life comes from our conscious mind. And 70% of the programs within our subconscious mind are actually limiting and sabotaging. So a lot of the time we're limiting ourselves. When we talk about within the energy realm, where we're wanting to ascend to the highest dimension, the highest vibrational frequency, that's essentially what that means, is becoming more conscious. Because when we're in our subconscious, 70% of those programs are limiting us and sabotaging us. So sometimes when we kind of feel we're a victim about life and a victim about things in life, essentially the majority of the time that's our own doing, because we're creating crap because we're most of our time being in our subconscious mind. So Dr. Lipton mentions that when we fall in love, you don't let the conscious mind wander. You're in the moment. So your conscious is firing on all cylinders essentially at that time. Everything is right and everything that you want at that moment is happening for you. So why would you want it to wander? It's actually the programming within the subconscious that screws things up in your life. So what we want to do is, you want to change your programming and make your wishes and desires be your subconscious. Because the majority of the time you are going to be in your subconscious, which essentially means you're going to become more conscious. And this is the whole term of being, this whole consciousness movement. So that's a bit about what I want to talk about. Now I'm going to talk about some examples. Some examples are, let's go into the nutritional realm, is marketing. So fats put on fat. That's what we're always told, is fats put on fat. But reality, when we become more conscious and do the research, is that processed foods and processed carbohydrates are putting on the weight for people. We're stuffing ourselves with food that our body can't utilise, and therefore it stores it as fat. But that's just a marketing ploy because it's business. We actually need to go back to all these fats, whether they're saturated, unsaturated or polyunsaturated, as long as they come from nature and therefore they're bioavailable to the human body. They're great fuel sources. They're actually great fuel sources. We don't actually hold on to it. So fat doesn't create fat. Cholesterol causing heart disease. Well, cholesterol is just a number from a blood test. And it's essentially there, so therefore if your number is higher than the therapeutic range, we've got a medication to give you which will lower your cholesterol levels. Since we've been doing that, there's been an epidemic of brain illnesses, brain diseases and degeneration such as Alzheimer's, dementia, and so on and so on. Because the brain is fat, and the brain needs cholesterol. And cholesterol is found at the scene of the crime of heart disease, but does it cause it? No, it doesn't. And I've done a video on it previously about heart disease and the real reasons for heart disease, so check that out if you want to learn a bit more about that. I'm not going to go into depth with that. The government and politics, we're all told that it's a democracy. Well, democracy doesn't exist. A lot of the decisions that are made without us even knowing it, because they know about this. They know that we spend majority of the time in our subconscious, which is our autopilot mode, and they know that as long as we're dumbed down in certain aspects because we're being programmed to think in a certain way, then they can get by and do stuff, make decisions without us knowing. So that's not a democracy. We've got to start to think what's behind our governments, because governments and politicians and our presidents and our prime ministers are puppeteers to who really holds the power. And these are secret society families like Rothschild, Rockefeller, and even going further back than that. So we have to be aware of these things. Okay, calcium for your bones. Well, our bones were strongest when we were children, when we were kids, when we were infants. And you know what? We were high in silicon, we were low in calcium at that point. As we get older, we lower in silicon, we get higher in calcium. And as we get older, we degenerate. We get degenerative diseases like arthritis, which is calcium in the joint. We get cirrhosis, that's calcium in the liver. We get heart attacks, obstruction in the artery, calcium in the artery. Things harden up. We get decrepit and we harden up. We lose our flexibility. Now that's an excess of calcium. So calcium's causing our problems. Now we're only being promoted to get calcium because where do we get calcium from? Where is it? Where are we being told where calcium comes from? From dairy. And dairy is the biggest industry in New Zealand. Again, now the marketing ploy. It's business. And this is the biggest one of all. Most of the things that we're exposed are fear-based. You watch the first half of the news, it's all about who's killing who, who's dying, health, life is essentially shit. And that's all fear-based. They want you to keep you in a fear-based, because therefore you are being governed. You need to go, you need to give your response to someone else, please help me. So if your governments and so on. When really you need to be starting, we all need to be taking our own responsibility for our own health. As being more conscious. So therefore not being governed. Okay? Also, let's have a look at some of the other examples. Let's talk about some of the social norms. When we look at a child eating with his hands, we set the program in place that no, you use utensils to eat and cutlery. Because we kind of look at ourselves as not being an animal, a wild animal, where we look at even our domestic pets, our dogs and cats, but they're an animal. We're not an animal. When they get ill, it must be because they've got a parasite. We've got to give them a deworming pill. When the medical system looks at us, no, you can't have a parasite. We're an animal, just like a dog and a cat and all the other animals. So would a parasite probably be majority of the problems? Yes. We do get parasites. I see them a lot here at Truly Holistic and have to remove them from people. So we need to get out of that system of thinking that we're different to the rest of the animal kingdom, because we're erasing our past, where we came from. At the moment, the majority of people are confused about what to eat, what to do, how to live naturalistically. And that's because we're erased where we've come from. And where we've come from is from more of a wild state, like an animalistic state. We need to go back to these old civilizations and these old ancient peoples to find out what they ate and what they did to keep healthy, because those people were more healthy than we are today. We're suffering from degenerative diseases because we're not living a naturalistic lifestyle. Now, another program is we need a pill or a tablet to cure a disease, when really it needs to be a naturalistic lifestyle. We need to get back to nature. And again, this is marketing, because that's for the pharmaceutical companies. They want us to be governed to our medical system, so therefore we go and see our doctor when we're ill, and still taking responsibility for ourselves to figure out what's going wrong. And that's business. And another thing I'd just like to mention is technology of today. We have smartphones coming, new smartphones with all new technology. You know, when you really think of it consciously about our smartphones and our phones, we can get any information, we can order anything, we can gather anything in the world using, it's in our hand, a phone. Now, if we can do that, surely we can find a cure for cancer. The thing is, the treatments we're treating cancer for, which are not curing cancer, it's just keeping you in a sickness mode, makes money. Selling phones and new phones makes money. So whatever you'll hear about will make money. It's not for the good of man or woman, it's what makes money. Okay? Also, other norms is in waiver program. McDonald's, they have the Happy Meal program for children, because they know if children like it at a young age, they've got a client for the rest of their lives. They've got business for the rest of their lives from that person, because they get programmed that all McDonald's, it tastes great, because they add all those chemicals that like excitotoxins like MSG and all these things that make a food that's essentially bland, got no nutrition, it tastes good. It gets you hooked from day one, and you'll be a client, you'll go there for the rest of your life. That's programming. Our aging model is programming. We're told that our body just breaks down like a car, but no, aging is really an accumulation of toxins over a period of time. Toxins that we go about subconsciously without thinking about what we're putting on our skin, what we're putting in our hair, what we're eating, and what we're drinking. The majority of that is toxic material coming from petroleum industry. A lot of the hair products and a lot of the things we're putting on skin comes from petroleum companies. It's byproducts of that. So we need to learn to bypass booby traps and toxins to stay out of this model that they've created, which is aging. This whole theory of aging. Now, time is not toxic. Okay, remember, the body follows the mind, so you have to think of a new model that if I stay away of this system and don't accumulate toxins, then you can live to a long age and a very healthy life. Anyway, I hope you've learned some information from this video. Post some comments below on my YouTube account or my Facebook page. Also, get in touch with me at Truly Holistic if you'd like to know more or like to do a consult or energy work. And thanks for listening and thanks for watching.